Let's talk about all of the new book releases coming out in March, April, and May. I've been keeping track and I am so hyped. A big reason for my excitement is last year it just really felt like so many new releases were duds for me, DNFing left and right. Dark times, let me tell you, but this year it just feels so different. Just the premises alone and the creativity that is going into all of these books. A lot of really exciting things going on in the indie world. So let's start off with March. March 25th, we have Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna van Veen. This one is set in Netherlands in 1887. I know that there's vampires that are part of this, so that gets me very excited. One of my favorite monsters. Lucy's twin sister Sarah is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, and is increasingly obsessed with a centuries-old corpse recently discovered on her husband's grand estate. Truly, I don't have to read any more than that. I'm sold. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by a fever of the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition. And then apparently her sister Sarah here becomes hungry and angry, so maybe there's some connections here to like female rage, because you have the whole like lunatic asylum associations with like women and insanity. I love that kind of commentary. And then you add it in the vampire association. I've already heard really great things about this book. So yeah, I already put my library hold in for this one. If you're looking for some books that are releasing in early March, definitely check out my winter releases video. I'll leave that down below in the description. April 8th, we have Sky Daddy by Kate Folk releasing. So when I'm in a very weird girl literary fiction mood, I think I'm gonna pick this one up for sure. Subversive and unexpectedly heartwarming, Sky Daddy hijacks the classic love story, exploring desire, fate, and the longing to be accepted for who we truly are. I'm really looking forward to this one because it's set in the city that's like nearest to me, San Francisco. So the synopsis mentions things like BART and SFO, and those are like keywords, acronyms I'm sure people who have never stepped foot in Northern California would be very confused about. But if you didn't know, BART is an acronym for something I don't even know. Essentially, it's a train system that connects a lot of like the Bay Area together, and then SFO is the airport that's outside of San Francisco. The main character of this story is Linda, and she is very romantically and even sexually attracted to airplanes. So this story can go a million different ways. I don't think I've seen a lot of people reading it yet. I know a lot of people are anticipating it, and the reviews I have watched people kind of get into, they're not necessarily feeling like it goes to extreme weird places, but that's a very subjective thing. I'm curious to figure out where it lands for me. Another April 8th release is Doomflower by Jendaya Gammon. I think this one is an indie book. I could be totally wrong, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this in their videos, so I'm excited to highlight it, especially if it is an independent author. The synopsis here says, think Heathers meets Mean Girls meets The Thing. Gory, horrific, but hilariously so. Perfect for fans of Grady Hendrix. Me right here. So yeah, I think this is a perfect match, especially since it seems to have a lot of themes revolving around like spring and springtime, which I love to read seasonally. So we have here Camellia Doom. Camellia, like the flower? Okay. So she's the meanest teen queen in her Malibu high school, a rich daddy's girl thanks to her father's elaborate scams, but she might be the only hero for humanity as an extraterrestrial mutation since plants tearing across the country and through people in bloody fashion. I don't think I read the full synopsis when I added it to this list. I just kind of saw the cover and I was sold already just based off of that. Okay, continuing here. As if that weren't enough drama, Camellia just might meet her own personal match or worst enemy in the new student, Ray. Only by working together can they uproot a deadly conspiracy that might have torn Camelia's family apart. Okay, so we have aliens, we have maybe potentially some eco-horror. It might be YA because these kids are like in high school, so I don't know how I feel about that. And I really, really enjoy anything that's like super campy, and this is kind of giving me some like retro vibes. So this could be really good to read during old school April, which it's all about like reading stuff that gives you some nostalgia. So I don't know, it seems perfect. And then we have The Staircase to Nowhere by Chuck Wendig, who I don't think I've like read any of their stuff, but this premise really got me. So 5 high school friends are bonded by an oath to protect one another no matter what. Sounds cute. Then, on a camping trip in the middle of the forest, they find something, a mysterious staircase to nowhere. That's where it got me. I'm like, what? So it seems a little weird, a little odd, like there might be some cosmic horror elements. I'm hoping anyway. That sounds really fun. One friend walks up and never comes back down. Okay, very, very brave or very stupid. And then the staircase disappears. 20 years later, the staircase has reappeared. Now the group returns to find the lost boy and what lies beyond the staircase in the woods. This has to be cosmic horror, right? This next one I've known about for quite some time. The library hold is already in, and that is Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Maria Griffin. A twisted, tangled story about workplace love affairs, ooh, and plants with a taste for human flesh. Very Springoween. This is a story about possession and monstrosity and working retail. Ooh, okay, so maybe we have some like workplace horror, some commentary on capitalism, maybe even like consumerism here. I could see that, yeah. Like literally eating people up, like eating them alive, like how work slowly eats you alive. I can be down with this. It is about hunger and desire and the other terrible things that grow. Yep, I am so ready for that book to be in my hot little hands. We're still in April here, and we have Sour Cherry, which is a Bluebeard retelling. I've always been really into the Bluebeard story ever since I was a little girl. I used to have this big old fairy tale book, and it had pictures and it had the abridged stories to all of like the Grimm's fairy tales and some like other stuff too, all pushed into like one big old book. And I always loved that Bluebeard story most of all. I don't know what it is. Like maybe it's the whole like marriage aspect, because as like a little girl, you just kind of get a lot of pressure regarding like, you know, what your wedding day is gonna look like and who is gonna be your Prince Charming, like all that stuff. You just kind of drink in as a young kid. And then I have this story in front of me where like that fairy tale becomes a nightmare. It's a horror story. So no wonder why I became such a big horror lover as an adult. So maybe that's what it is. It's like the twist on what I'm supposed to love and what I'm supposed to aspire to. It's actually really dark. And the synopsis for Sour Cherry gives basically nothing away, which is pretty great. I just really don't know what to expect. In a mysterious apartment filled with ghosts, our unnamed narrator attempts to explain this to her child. How do I talk about this? She wonders. An arresting debut novel examining toxic masculinity through its chorus of women, deconstructing the idea of what makes someone a monster. I always wonder, like, what would it be like to raise a boy and how challenging that would be, like in its own unique ways, knowing that toxic masculinity is existing. You know, how do you like move against that in terms of your decisions as a parent? So maybe that's like the whole question that this book is grappling with, using the horror genre as a way to illustrate the challenge and the journey. This next one sounds really great for Summerween. Releasing on April 29th is Night Swimming by Erin Starmer, a 90s mixtape of a young adult novel that delivers a summer romance with an unearthly twist. It's the summer of 1994, and Trevor can barely wrap his mind around the fact that he and his friends have graduated high school. But then he meets a girl, and that girl, Sarah, approaches him with a mission. They're going to swim in all of the pools in the neighborhood. So very YA. I don't know. We'll see. Like sometimes young adult novels, like I used to be really into them a few years back, and now not so much because I don't know, I'm a high school teacher, so I spend a lot of time around young people. So when they learn about a natural pool hidden deep in the woods, it starts off as just another spot to check off their summer bucket list. But once they get there, they soon realize the natural pool has a curious hold on them, and something very strange is happening. So what is happening? I need to know. I think it might be magical realism going on in this book, or it might just be like weird fiction, weird horror. But I love anything to do with water, ocean horror, anything eco horror. So that's really what drew me to this book. I think based on the fact that it is YA, it could be a hit or miss for me, but it does have a lot going for it. May also has several books that are coming out that I am so hyped for. First of which is going to be Overgrowth by Mira Grant. The early ARC reviews for this one are so extremely positive. It's described as Annihilation meets Day of the Triffids in this full-on body horror alien invasion apocalypse. I forget what the book was called that I read and really loved of Mira Grant's. It was the one about the mermaids. I think it's like Into the Drowning Deep. So I really like their writing style, and it seems like they like to discuss a lot of like environmental commentary within their stories. I'm not mad about it since I enjoy that. Since she was 3 years old, our main character, Anastasia Miller, has been telling everybody that she's like secretly an alien in a human body and that the armada that left her on Earth is coming for her. Okay, of course nobody's gonna believe her. But they should have, because now with an alien signal from the stars being broadcast around the world, humanity is finally starting to realize that Anastasia knew what was up. This next book release reminds me so much of American Horror Story Hotel, which is probably one of my top 5 seasons that they've ever had. Probably honestly like my #1 season, if I had to choose. And this is Below the Grand Hotel by Kat Scully. It's pitched as The Great Gatsby meets Hellraiser in this 1920s horror novel of glitz, glamour, and demons. I love it. What a combination. We have Mabel Rose Dixon, who will do anything to become a Ziegfeld girl. If you don't know, they're performers, dancers. They were featured in movies that Hollywood was producing at the time, so a very sought out role within the performing arts world. But apparently, Mabel has been picking people's pockets, so when she picks the wrong one, Mabel loses her soul to a hotel run by demons and tumbles into the world of the Grand Hotel, a place where any artist can make it big. Yeah, Mabel quickly learns that losing her soul to get everything she ever wanted comes at a much steeper cost than what she bargained for. This next book, coming out May 13th, sounds like another really great book for a spooky summer vibe. But again, it's YA, so I'm kind of on the fence. But I'll give it a shot because it is set in the ocean, and that is Out of Air by Rachel Reese. This book follows a group of young adults who are somehow like able to scuba dive on their own. I don't know how that is even able to happen. There are some like plots in these YA books where I find it so hard to believe that young adults, teenagers, will be put in these situations by their parents. Phoebe Ray is never more at home than when she's underwater. On a dive 6 months ago, she and her 4 closest friends discovered a handful of ancient gold coins, rocketing them into social media fame. After high school, they're taking one last trip to a distant Australian island to do what they love most: scuba dive. While diving a local reef, Phoebe discovers a spectacular underwater sea cave rumored to be a lost cave with buried treasure. I love a cave setting. But when Phoebe and her best friend Gabe surface from the cave, they notice that they're undergoing strange changes. Oozing gashes that don't heal, haunting whispers in their heads. Something has latched onto them, lurking beneath their skin, transforming them from the inside out. And that was the part that got me intrigued. I am counting down the days for these books to come out this spring. This year really has been the year of new releases for me. I've been really on top of my game of making sure that I'm getting those library holds in, and I'm looking at all these different websites to figure out what is coming out. And as a reader, it's just another fun element to just like plan, prepare, research, and find out what is going on in the literary world. So I hope you're able to find a book or two to add to your list of reads in 2025 or maybe in the future. No rush, right? You'll get to them when you can, when the time is right. But thank you so much for being with me. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.